Okay, Kevin, you want to do roll call?
Yep, roll call, Councilman Larson,
Yes.
Councilwoman White,
Present.
Councilman Hahn. Present. Dan Hahn, Councilman Josh Hahn,
Present.
and Councilwoman Cox is absent,
Absent.
and Councilwoman Stubble is absent.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Jay Hahn. Approve the agenda as presented. Any questions or concerns? Well, since there is none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on, we have a public hearing on the new microbrewery liquor license application for Bushwick Brewing Company. Do you want to introduce that reading, Kevin?
Okay, so this is a new license for microbrewery. It's Pushroot Brewing Company here in Lander. And we can open for comment.
All right. Council have comment?
I don't.
None? Okay, is there any public comment on this? Since there is none. Okay, I'm gonna close the hearing at 6:03. Moving on, we got another public hearing. Renewal of, excuse me, liquor license for 24-25. I'm gonna open the hearing at 6:04. Introductory reading on this.
Okay, so these are the liquor license renewals for this coming year. The American Pizza Partners, which is Pizza Hut, the Coulter Group, Gannett Grill, Lander Bar, the Eatery 223 LLC, which is Lincoln Street Bakery, El Sol de Mexico, the Elks, BPO 2317, the End Zone Food and Beverage, Hayes Family Food Truck LLC, the Hitching Rack, Kitchen Sinks Inc., which is a Cowfish, Lander Brewing Company, Lander Golf Course, Lick Inc., which is Maverick Motel Restaurant and Lounge, Liquid Courage LLC, which is Whiskey Mountain Tasting Room, Maverick Inc., Maverick number 389, the Middle Fork, Mini Mart as Loaf and Jug number 155, Mr. D's Food Center, Molino's Bistro, the Oxbridge Corporation, which is the Oxbow, Safeway Store 46, Safeway Store number 2761, Silver Spur Lanes, Sink and Rise Inc., which is the Inn at Lander, Sweetwater Food and Beverage LLC, which is the One Stop Market, the VFW 954 Paposia Post, WR Holdings LLC, which is Xander's, Wyoming Catholic Food Services, Xander's Catering, and then this is also a renewal, the Pushroot Brewing Company.
Open it up for comment, council. Councilwoman White.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, are you aware of any issues with any of these establishments that would warrant not renewing their license?
No, there's nothing that would warrant any worry.
Any more from council? Since there is none, anybody from the audience? Okay, since there is none, I'm gonna close this public hearing down at 6:05. Close. Okay, next on the agenda is public hearing ordinance 2024-1, rezoning lots in 700 block of Garfield from R5 to residential to C to commercial district. Open the public hearing at 6:06. Regine, you want to introduce reading on this? You want it ready?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2024-1, an ordinance rezoning a lot in the 700 block of Garfield Street, being block 110, lots 3 and 4, Earl and Farlow addition to the original town of Lander, from R5 multifamily residential district to C commercial district. This is the ordinance hearing for this. It has already been through the Planning Commission. The way that rezoning works and also the annexation is the Planning Commission hears the case and recommends to council. Council is the final decision through means of enacting these ordinances. So I will brief you on the city comments for this zoning. And city staff noted that the existing property is adjacent to the existing commercial zoning district on the east end and also across the street from the rear of Mr. D's, which is also zoned commercial. Garfield Street itself is a mixture of commercial and R5 zoning for its entire length. As a commercial district adjacent to a residential district, should this lot be built upon, setback requirements must meet that of the adjacent residential district. So normally in a commercial district, there are no setbacks, but they would have to meet the residential setbacks. City Code Section 472 states that the Planning Commission has the power to hear and make recommendations to City Council on rezoning applications. City staff believes the request is consistent with the 2012 master plan, suggesting implementation of the plan for two related action items being developing a zoning plan that promotes graduated densities and identify opportunities to expand existing industrial sites by rezoning adjacent properties as they become available. City staff did receive one written comment in favor of this rezoning request, and that was at the public hearing for the Planning Commission. The application is in order, consistent with the 2012 master plan, and meets all the requirements for city code district zoning map amendments. At that Planning Commission public hearing, after hearing public comment and city staff comments, the Planning Commission deliberated on that, and they are recommending this rezoning go forward. I would like to share a map if I can. It's gone, so let me check on that. I think I can do it. Technology, I love it. You are screen sharing.
John, come up with an option.
Did it say allow or anything up there?
We're seeing
Yeah.
here, but it's not getting relayed.
Notice they don't ask me to fix this.
Well, and I apologize. Most of this technical issues are because I didn't turn it on right. So
Yeah.
there you go. Now it looks better. Now, John, you can make that smaller, that screen smaller so everybody can see the map. Thank you. All right. So where we're looking at is this is 7th and Garfield right here. If you can see my cursor. And so you see that all of Garfield on the north side for a while is commercial, which is blue. And the existing adjacent lots are commercial, which is also blue. And this request exists right here in these two lots, just directly to the west of the existing commercial zone right here. With that, we have Zach Mellon, the chair of the Planning Commission here. If you have questions for Zach, or if there's any other public comment, we have the requester in the audience.
Yeah, open up Council, you have any comment? Missy?
Thank you, Mayor. Regine, you mentioned in another conversation that as a result of the master plan, the intention is for the commercial district to spread to the north and south. Do you have a particular citing of that? Where we can share that information with folks?
I do. It is action item 1-2 of the 2012 master plan. And it directs the city, which in this case is the Planning Commission, under direction of the council, to develop a zoning plan that promotes graduated densities and intensities of development with the highest density and intensity in the downtown and the lowest at the edge of the planning areas. And then it just says adoption of zoning codes that reinforce graduated densities and intensity patterns.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
That helps, I think, in framing some of the questions.
Okay, any public comment? All right, since there is none, we'll close this public hearing at 6:13 PM.
Okay.
Hearing's closed. We got one more public hearing, ordinance 2024.
2.
Oh, 20, we got two more. Public hearing ordinance 2024-2, rezoning 431 Washakie from residential R5 to residential to C commercial. Regine?
Thank you again, Mayor. This is ordinance 2024-2, an ordinance rezoning a lot in the 400 block of Washakie Street, being block 10, lots 3 and 4, Riverside Edition, original town of Lander, from R5 multifamily residential to C commercial. I'm going to change the location of my map if I can. Why can't I find it? Okay, so this follows the same process. City Council, I'll read the City Council recommendation letter. City staff noted that the existing property is adjacent to the existing commercial zoning district at the rear side of the lot. Washington Street is zoned commercial from the 100 to 200 blocks, and the southern lots on Washakie are adjacent to commercial zoning for the 300 to 700 blocks. So you can see this dot here. This is the lot in question. It's actually these two lots together. You can see that there's commercial down this block and there's commercial directly behind it in the alley. So that's what it means. As in R5 district, there's restrictions on multiple uses. If this is rezoned commercial, any building will have to follow the R5, which is the adjacent zone setbacks, just like the previous one that we discussed. And then again, I'll reread this, but City Code Section 472 states that the Planning Commission has the power to hear and make recommendations to the City Council on rezoning applications, ensuring that the application is consistent with the adopted master plan. City staff believes the request is consistent with the 2012 master plan and suggests implementation plan for two related action items, being the two I read earlier, developing a zoning plan and identifying opportunities to expand industrial sites by rezoning adjacent properties. The city staff did receive 4 written comments and 1 petition or 1 list of public comment on this rezoning request. And I just had Hunter pass out a public comment that we would like entered into tonight because that gentleman could not make it to the meeting tonight. So council has that in their thing. All the public comment in this case was against the request to change from R5 to C. The application is in order, is consistent with the 2012 master plan and meets all the requirements of city code for amending a zoning map. After hearing all of the testimony and deliberating on that at the Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission does not recommend this for rezoning, and the vote was 5-1, not in favor of rezoning.
Questions from the council? Go ahead, Councilman Hahn.
Yeah, this is all kind of new to me, this part of it, but I would have to agree with the planning commission on this one, due to the fact, there's a lot of people who've lived there for a long time, and then all of a sudden you want to have a business next to somebody's housing. I know that if I was in somebody's shoes, I would probably feel the same as they do. How do we keep from expanding the businesses? Just keep on expanding and expanding and expanding back into the, I guess would be the citizens' housing and stuff, versus taking up, spaces on Main Street that are open or the industrial park and stuff like that.
If I may, Mayor.
Go ahead.
We're not deliberating this right now. This is
Yeah.
just the public hearing portion, but I will tell you that if we want to stop, if you as a council want to stop that process from happening, we need to change the action items in the 2012 master plan. And so we have an opportunity to do that through the 2024 master plan that will be coming up. So if that's something that this council does not prefer and a previous council wanted, that's the avenue to change that process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I will mention that the owner is here and would like to speak, and we have Zach Malum, the Chair of Planning Commission, if needed.
Okay, I'm opening it up to the public. Anybody want to speak on behalf of this or against it? More welcome, come up. Yeah, you kind of come up here, come to this side, state your name and where you live, Stephen. And push the little red guy, the little guy's head.
My name is Stephen Watkins and I live at 445 Washakie Street. And I just want to go on the record that I live in this area that's in question, and I have no problem with our city growing because we need businesses and people need to work. But as a resident, I live between two double lots and I'm a single lot. And in the business in question, as I understand, he has his own shop down at Rollins Junction anyways. And, in living here in Lander, if there are no boundaries or, to where people can live, I mean, how much, we do need to grow. I understand that. But it's one thing when people want to grow on top of you. And, I appreciate where I live and, and everything. It's just, and I'm not against businesses, like I said, but, why does somebody want to expand right next door to me? Because I already live in a single lot. And as I understand, there's a shop in question, and I'm a guy, I like shops too, but I don't want some big huge shop, right next door. And I think they have to fabricate things for their businesses, and that's good. But considering the noise and stuff like that, it's not really a good thing because I do work and I like to sleep. But again, in hearing about the expansion in the commercial properties, and I do believe here in Lander, we have enough open properties. And and I know the thing is in business, be where you could be seen, but it shouldn't be on top of a residence. And there's plenty of properties and spaces here that are open. And I'm glad I think it was decided for it not to be a no-go. And I appreciate that. But again, it's like we do need to grow, but hopefully we can grow within reason and not step on each other. But thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Sit over here where it's already on, state your name and
Kevin Baker. So the property is my property. I do want to address what Josh brought up, as far as expansion and everything. There are empty lots in town, but nothing for sale. So, this provided a lot. It also provided a house where I house employees. I can offer them a cheaper rate of rent. And so there was, as far as its proximity, it was bordering commercial. It also, next door to it, has a non-conforming commercial property. So, as far as the location is concerned, that was part of the you know, the reason I purchased the property and was hoping to move my business into town. As the gentleman stated, currently we're operating out of Tumbleweed Drive, which is 9 miles south of town. It's not the most convenient thing. So that was my hope and my plan. And, you know, as Regine pointed out, you know, it fit in the city master plan. You know, these are things that I checked into prior to purchasing the property. So, you know, I'm just trying to protect my investment and, you know, hopefully move my business into town. You know, as I've had a business here for 17 years, so. The other things are, as far as our, what we do, all of our work is in the field. You know, we don't, I mean, or 99%, you know, we do fabricate some parts and pieces, but for the most part, we're not in, you know, we're not in the shop. We're not, but we don't have foot traffic to our business like a retailer has. You know, we literally use the building to warehouse parts and, you know, ducting and whatever else. So I do feel like it's less invasive as an RV park or any of the other conditional uses that are already available. We do get some deliveries, but you know, it's a couple times a week. It's not by semi. We have delivery trucks that deliver, just no different than a UPS truck driving down the road. So so there's that. I also, I know that there was one of the neighbors went around and, you know, got a bunch of signatures. I went back through the list. I know some of the folks on the list, so I went and spoke with them. Shane was one of them, Shane Meyer. And he wrote another, you know, he wrote a letter back for me, stating that most of the people, or I feel like most of the people probably were not informed of what was going on because he had no idea. He just signed it just to get the guy out of his store. So, you know, so as far as all these signatures against it, I don't feel like it's a valid petition because Mr. Wiles did not inform people of exactly what I was doing. So there is that, and I have that letter here. So if you guys would like it, but
Sure, bring it up here.
okay.
Keep it. No, I'm just passing it on so you can read it.
Go for it.
Regina, I'd like to ask a question. If I heard you correctly, you said the planning commission did not recommend this. Is that what I heard?
That is correct. So the process is city council reviews and recommends to planning, planning reviews and recommends to council. In this case, city staff recommended approval. Planning commission did not recommend approval by a 5-1 vote.
Did they happen to give an explanation? They probably don't have to, but is there an explanation of why they didn't recommend it? You know,
Yeah, I put the meeting notes in your packet, but I think I would refer to the chair, Zach Malum, to answer that question.
Did you want to come up?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zach Malum. I'm here in my capacity as chairman of the Lander Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment, in this particular case for the Planning Commission. I was personally one of the individuals that did not recommend the rezoning. There were, as Ms. Strube Fossen indicated, there were 5 individuals who did not vote to recommend it, and there was 1 individual who voted to recommend it. At the risk of putting words in the mouths of my fellow council members, what I understand our reasoning to be was that Mr. Baker's use would be very appropriate in this particular neighborhood. However, the particular rezoning would not be, and that's a really necessary distinction here. There is a conditional use permit process in the R5 zone, which allows for certain businesses to operate out of people's homes or personal shops, things of that nature. And it's a different process that goes through the Board of Adjustment, and it's also not permanent. Well, I suppose nothing's really permanent because laws can always be changed, but it's easier to change than a rezoning request because a conditional use permit does not run with the land. It only binds to the particular owner. So if Mr. Baker were to sell his property, then the new owner would not get the benefit of his conditional use permit. If they wanted to use that property for a similar use or some other use, they would have to come back before the Board of Adjustment and request that we take a review of his conditional use application and then either approve or not approve of that use. In this particular case, what concerned me, and I believe what concerned other members of the Planning Commission, is that the fact that this zoning change would run with the land could potentially cause issues with other nearby landowners. So there's other commercial uses that would be allowed simply by right, not by application, as they would be in a conditional use situation. So though Mr. Baker's use may be very appropriate for that area of the community, some other use might not. And I confess I haven't looked at all of the uses that are allowed by right under a zoning or under a commercial zone, but they're quite more extensive than what might be allowed under an R5 conditional use permitting process. Another concern that I had, and I'm not sure if this is adequately reflected or if it was even fully discussed, but to compare this request to the one that we just finished discussing, the one on Garfield Street, whereas that one was surrounded by commercial and R5, this one actually abuts against an R2 zone. I believe that's an R2. I can't quite see it from here. It's either R2 or R3. And since one of the requirements in the master plan is to have a graduated zoning classification or graduated zoning scheme, having a commercial right next to an R5 didn't seem particularly appropriate to me. Obviously, some already do exist. I don't, in my own personal opinion, necessarily think that the original zoning map was all that thoughtfully drawn, but be that as it may, it didn't make sense to me, and I believe it didn't make sense to other members of the Planning Commission to continue to extend that commercial use closer to an R2, or that commercial zone closer to an R2. Again, the use is not what we took issue with. It was the fact that other less appropriate uses might follow. So that's my perspective. I'd be happy to entertain questions.
Any questions? Councilwoman White.
Thank you, Mayor. A question for you, Mr. Malum. So given that this property abuts R5, it would have to follow the R5 setback requirements, side yard, rear yard, et cetera.
That is my understanding.
Okay, and for Mr. Baker, I think that was one of your hopes in terms of if it had a commercial, even if it were zoned commercial, you would still have to use the R5 setbacks for that spot.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so ultimately that doesn't really change your intent in terms of having a building. You could still build that same building. The footprint of it wouldn't change whether it's commercial or R5.
No, I don't believe so.
Right,
believe so,
since
yeah.
it has to follow the R5.
Yeah.
Okay, but with a conditional use permit, you could both build the building and operate it as a shop as desired.
Yes.
That's my understanding. Okay, thank you to both of you for that clarification. And then if I may, Mayor.
Go
Can I read
ahead.
this? So this is the letter. I, Shane Meyer was under the understanding that a retail business was going there, not a warehouse. I said from the get-go that I didn't want to be involved in anything. The person that came in said they are my customers that live on those blocks and I should sign it. The person that came in didn't want to leave until it was signed. Signed, Shane Meyer.
Councilman Morrison.
That we're going for a zoning change from R5 commercial and not a conditional use permit. Is that?
That's correct, Councilman Larson. The ordinance will change this lot, right here where this dot is, these two lots, by ordinance to be blue or commercial.
Okay,
And they would exist surrounded by R5 on the sides and like Zach mentioned, R2 to the north of the street.
okay. We've talked, this is just a tangent here, but we've talked so much about, having affordable housing for people that's working here. It seems like that's one of the ideas behind your game plan here is that you've got a house there to supply at least temporary housing for the workers that you've got.
Yes,
How big a shop are you looking to put up there?
I don't have an exact plan at this moment.
That's all I've got right now.
Okay. All right. Is that it? It's just a public hearing. There's no voting here, so. All right, anybody else from the audience? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
Since there's no more comments, so I'll close this public hearing at 6:35. Now we'll move on to the next one. Public hearing number 7, public hearing ordinance 2024-3, annexing and zoning partial lots of 710 Robbie View Way. Regine.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me pull it up again. This map, by the way, is on our website. So it's a great tool to use. There is a drawing in your plan. This is ordinance 2023-3, an ordinance annexing and zoning a portion of a lot being block 3, lots 3 and 4, Jones subdivision replat, R2 multifamily residential district. So this is a little bit different. It's an annexation, and in order to annex, you have to choose a zone. Again, that's heard by the Planning Commission, and the final decision is made by the council. So all the documents were in order. The city recommended that this be annexed and zoned R2, like the rest of the lot. The Planning Commission at their public meeting heard full deliberations, and they recommend this annexation and zoning to R2 for this portion of this lot. You can see that this right here is 710. I'll move it up a little bit. Right where the R2 is listed, that is 710 Robbie's View. And they're going to annex this portion of the hatched area, which is county property currently, just to extend their lot and accommodate all of their existing buildings on one lot. They're also going to change their lot line to extend down into this blue area, but that would be rezoned R2. So the entirety of their lot, new lot as designed, would be in R2 if approved.
Questions? If there's none.
The owners are here in the audience if you'd like to hear from them.
Anybody from the audience? Okay, close this public hearing at 6:37. Closed. Next on the agenda is communication from the floor. If you have communication, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address where you live. And this will be recorded, and we'll give you 3 minutes to get your beef out if there is any. Anybody want communication from the floor? Hey. You want to push the little guy's head there? Yeah, push the little guy's head. There you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Carrie Lynn White. My address is 39 North Fork Road here in Lander. I'm a parent of a high school senior. I'm a Lander business owner, and I'm the parent liaison for the 2024 Senior Banners on Main Street project for project graduation this year. Super excited to see that on your agenda tonight, there is an agreement between the city of Lander and Fremont School #1. They've been working hard on this agreement, and I'm really excited to have it. The agreement is about seasonally displaying banners for graduating seniors. I want to thank everybody involved, a lot of city employees and school district at the administration office have been working on this. I also wanted to give you a little history about this very special tradition and celebration that's been happening in Lander the last few years. Started in 2020, when our graduating seniors did not have their traditional project graduation celebration. And some parents got together and just blessed the students and the community is what I noticed. So in 2021, my family and I, along with many volunteers, continued the project. When I had a senior then, we hung and maintained and took down the banners, and then we were able to give them to the seniors as a little keepsake type thing. My heart behind it was to provide a celebration for LVHS, Pathfinder, homeschool, all those seniors would be celebrated. And it would be something that would be a donation type situation where everyone got to be up there, whether they could afford it or not. And going forward, we're hoping for that same heart. I want to thank the students and parents who have come tonight. A couple of the seniors would like to visit with you about it and just let you know, I guess, how passionate we are about it and thankful that we are able to do that. I also just want to thank you for the time to speak to you about it. And if you have any questions about it, once you start reading the agreement, I would love to answer.
Okay. Time's up.
All right.
Thank you. Come on up. We're gonna put you in the hot seat. Yep, it's on. She left. it on.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Avery Beaver. I live at 1230 McDougal Drive. And I just want to say first and foremost, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm currently a senior here at Lander Valley High School, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the graduating class of 2024. I know a lot of my classmates are very passionate about this taking place this year as well. In my opinion, graduating high school is a huge milestone in anybody's life. And I believe that it should be celebrated proudly and in any way that it can. I remember when my brother graduated in the year of 2020, the COVID year, the first year that these banners were hung up on Main Street. And I remember how special that was to my brother's class and to those graduates, these graduates that didn't have the opportunity to celebrate their graduation as they traditionally would have. And just seeing that they had the recognition that they needed for their graduation with the banners on Main Street was very, very special to them. But I also believe it wasn't just a celebration. I believe it also marked that more than 100 students were graduating from Lander Valley High School and Pathfinder. And I believe that's something that we should really be proud of as a city and a school system, to know that we have that many people who are graduating. And I think it also gives younger generations something to look up to, and even someone to look up to. And I know every year since 2020, the banners have been a thing, except for last year when the banners were not hung up on Main Street and instead they were hung outside the fences of the high school. And in my opinion, if it hadn't been for me attending the school, I don't think we ever would have really noticed those banners. And so I believe that these banners are very important when it comes to recognizing the huge accomplishment and the milestone that these seniors are taking place, or taking the steps to complete. To know that we have this next generation ready to take the next step in life. I think that's very, very important. And I really, truly believe that graduating high school should be recognized in any way that it can, especially with the banners on Main Street. That's all I had. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. We'll go mayor and council updates. I'll start Councilman Hahn. You have anything?
I have nothing, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Hahn.
I just wanted to thank the city guys for taking care of some snow. It was a little slick out there, and I know it's been pretty rough, but you guys did a really good job. Thank you.
Missy.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo that. Heard a lot of very pleased folks with this latest storm and how quickly the snow was moved for that. Met with the Senior Center Board this morning in December. They did yet another banner job of serving meals, 3,299 meals served both in the Senior Center and delivered to folks around town. And boy, they are such a dedicated crew. These are volunteers who were out delivering the meals, and they are so dedicated in doing that. That's very impressive. Also really impressive is that they received over $3,800 in donations to cover the meals for those who can't afford it, which is just a remarkable show of generosity from the community for that. In another amazing show of generosity, the individual had the exorbitant water bill of $4,500 that has been, before Christmas, I believe, was paid off in full with a $200 credit. And my heart goes out in tremendous gratitude to all who contributed to our fellow citizen. That to me is a remarkable showing of who the heart of Lander is and what our culture is. We help each other out. And thank you to all who did that. And another number to toss out, the Central Wyoming Regional Airport finished the year on a really big number, 15,375 enplanements for the year, which is getting back to the heyday of activity there, all the more impressive since we only had the second flight twice a week, the midday flight. So all of us who have been working on that project are thrilled for that. And again, appreciate the support of those who use the airport, as well as those who see the economic benefit of it and support it through the economic development tax for it. And then lastly, last night, Councilman Larson and I attended the fireworks committee meeting for the 4th of July. Talked about another group of dedicated volunteers. They are working really hard to make a show happen. And they're finding out some of the challenges with that in terms of the needed space, fire protection, insurance, et cetera. They are doing their best to work through that. They don't have a confirmed spot yet, but they continue to be optimistic and continue to work really hard to make that happen. So their hope is to have a Class A show that would have the really big mortars, like 6 and 8 inch mortars. We're talking big time, folks, and they are a dog and a bone about that. So wish them all well, and let's hope they can make this happen. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Larson.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Once again, the street department has done great with the snow removal, but I wanna give some other pats on the back. It's not very often that you'll see employees come out on Christmas Eve, 8 o'clock at night. And, you know, my neighbor had sewer water just starting to rise in his basement. And 2-3 years ago, it cost him $6,000 to get his house cleaned up from that. So when he called, he was panicked, and had the street crew come out. They brought the sewer jet out. They run it up and down the line there. They got everything cleared out, and had one very happy citizen there, you know, from the city being willing to come out and do that on Christmas Eve. So that's above and beyond. Other thing that I got is when my seminary class come back to work, or back to class there a week ago, this last Monday, just asked, you know, what did you do over the holiday? And without fail, every one of them went around. We went ice skating. You know, that was a huge deal for them. There was one young lady that says, you know, I was in charge of all my siblings here for the last 2 weeks. Says that's the easiest babysitting I've ever had. You know, just put them out there on the ice rink, and they were there every day, all day long. You know, and so I think that's another big pat on the back for Parks and Rec and whoever else was involved in getting that done. So thank you. And that's all I've got.
That's right, yeah. That's, I just want to put out there thanks to those Parks and Rec guys too. Kept a lot of kids busy over Christmas break. Also, don't want to forget went up by the golf course, and all the people up there skiing are tremendous. And I noticed a lot of Riverton people are coming over and taking advantage of it also, which that's what we want to do. We want to be Fremont County as a whole. So it was good to see all those people out skating and skiing, except for me. That's not my gig anymore. So, but, and just give you a heads up that at the end of the month, Lance and I and Shari will be gone down to the governor's office to try and raise more funding. You're still on, right? Okay. So, but just good things happening. So,
Mayor, can you explain a little bit what funding are you looking for, and what's the
looking for
price
that.
tag that you're
looking
for?
for that $48 million for the 10 projects we have for over the next 5 years. So that'll get a lot of projects moving, and a lot of good prices, I think, because we can offer out 5 years lands is what we're asking for.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is when we designed the projects kind of in the 2020 area, and high priority projects such as water, sewer, streets, put everything together. We're sitting on fully designed projects that we're taking to the SLIB board, leveraging the optional 1% tax as our in-kind, as well as water and sewer funds, to then be getting a loan with potential loan forgiveness and grant. So this is that $45-ish million program. We have a street sweeper that's eligible for that. We have a sewer jet that's within that price tag. So it's a lot of good things for the city of Lander all in one big package that we can pace out over 5 years. And the reason we're doing that over 5 years is just so we can handle it in-house. You know, one big project can consume a summer, and we have short construction windows. So trying to be able to make sure we can manage these, even though they are designed, and then also the lack of contractors out there, trying to get competitive bids, space these out so that we get interest in the projects. And who we're meeting with is the entire SLIB board individually, and then we'll be at the SLIB meetings when we're on the agenda, trying to rally for Lander and hopefully get them to support us receiving this grant loan package.
Thank you for this, Steve. Part I wanted to make sure, especially having audience here, to get more of the details, and also to note that's basically 7 times Landers General Fund annual budget. So, that's a lot of money, and also how expensive the projects are that folks want to see done. It can't just come out of our general fund budget. So thank you for that great work, and fingers crossed.
Yep. So I'll move over to staff reports. Chief, I'll start with you.
Okay, before I get in my report, I'd like to introduce Kelly Waugh. Kelly Waugh is our new captain. He comes to us from Sheridan. Kelly's got a wealth of knowledge, experience, and forward thinking. He's going to be a great asset for us here in the future, but I wanted to introduce him just so you guys can see him. I'm sure you'll get to know him a lot more here in the future. Oh.
Well, welcome.
Oh, I want to, just with the report, just to update you, we finally got our Motorola radios in our cars. So that was the grant. When I first came 2.5 years ago, our technology was way behind the curve. We took care of all the portables last year. All the radios finally got installed last week. So we're up to date. We're modern. We're no longer 23 years old in our technology anymore. So it's good to go. And the best thing is, you know what, the grants paid for 100% of it. We didn't have to pay for anything out of our own money. So the only other thing I have is I'll have the yearly stats all together for you. Hopefully present them, get on the agenda for the work session in a couple weeks, and we can dissect the 2003 year. But just looking at the numbers, it's impressive. Our crime's down across the board. So I think you'll enjoy looking at them. So I'll have those ready in a couple weeks. And then if you have any questions.
Any questions? Councilman White.
More requests, Chief. You seem to be batting 1,000 on grants. Could you go to Cheyenne at the end of the month and just bring that good luck charm with you to that process?
Well, if you ask me.
Okay, is that it? Lance?
Yes, Mayor and Council, just a few updates. Kind of wanted to give you a outlook of what Public Works looks like in the winter. So we say Streets Department, but the reality is it's everyone within Public Works who contributes into helping out. When we hire new staff, we always have the goal of hiring them with a CDL or training them for a CDL so that they can be drivers for us and be part of the snow removal plan, whether that's running a motor grader, or running a loader or whatever piece of equipment may be, trucks with plows on it. It takes a joint effort. So thank you for identifying them, and I'll take that back to them that they're all doing a great job. We have a lot of staff now trying to get licenses within our water and sewer department. So they should be studying. Sometimes they get a little bit off task, but try to keep them focused on getting those additional licenses that we need. And we try to drive those staff within the water sewer departments to get the highest certifications possible for our plant, which is a level 3 license. So we have all kinds of people working on those as well as their CDLs right now. We're working on a lot of projects. We're trying to get the Lincoln Street project out right now. You're looking at getting a water sewer and extension done by the hospital right now. We need to get things bid. So we're going to be bringing things to you in the next month. I'm hoping to see those move forward, working on the Wells project, trying to get that bid. And then a lot of meetings of moving other projects along in this off season. So it sounds like we should have some time where we have a break, but we don't really ever get one. So it's just kind of moving along so that we can be building again once this snow disappears and we're back into construction season. But really, I'm proud of how hard everybody's working, some of our reaction in the off hours. John, thanks for identifying that. I mean, people showed up on Christmas Eve and they were happy to do it to open airports and move things along. I know it's not perfect for everybody in town when it gets this cold, but we really do try to put our best effort into it with what we have, and also trying to give people a break too when they do have vacations and planning and make it work for our staff. But usually you call and they're willing to come out and work. So we've got a good crew, even though it's sometimes small, but we try to do that cross training and make everybody be able to work effectively together. Happy to answer any questions you guys have about Public Works, and really happy with the ice skating as well. It's pretty crazy to see how many people we had out on ice. It's great.
Questions? Missy?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Lance, what's the estimated price tag for the Lincoln Street project?
It's just under 5 million, but I need an updated estimate with today's numbers because it has been changing so regularly based on parts and availability. I wouldn't want to quote an actual number, but let me get an updated estimate from the engineers and
Okay.
get back to you. But we were right around the $5 million, just above or below it.
Okay.
That's everything from storm drainage, water, sewer rehab, water replacement all the way through, ADA work, sidewalk, all the way down Lincoln Street.
And-
So it's a
And then
pretty
obviously
significant
paving.
project. What's that?
And then obviously paving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and paving, new pavement the whole way down once that's done. And then trying to keep businesses open and flowing, through that season. And so not opening up too many blocks at one time and some constraints there to understand that we do have warehouses, we do have commercial in this area, and people need to access those during that season as
Yeah.
well. So again, you start throwing in like Lincoln Street, Fifth Street, Second Street, opening all those up at once and having the 4th of July, I can't imagine, what kind of mess we'd have, but we have to be careful too on what we allow to happen, but we have to be effective when we are working in the good season.
Great. The other thing I was going to say, speaking of flowing, thank you for getting the word out in advance of tonight's meeting about encouraging folks to start running water. I saw lots of advertisements about that through our social media. Thank you, Anne. I think that's your handiwork doing that. It's great that we can do those things proactively and try to keep the water flowing for folks. So thanks for getting the word out.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Regine?
Thank you, Mayor. Table Mountain Living Community, we have final construction costs on that. It's been bid on January 17th at their board meeting. They will determine whether to award that construction bid. It is currently $16.1 million for the building structure. And then Lance is talking about the other projects that are going on, the water, sewer, street, fiber, all those kind of utility improvements up Bishop Randall from the hospital parking lot into Table Mountain can also be awarded here in the next month or so. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Questions? Hunter?
I don't, I don't have anything unless you guys have something for me.
Anybody have anything for Hunter? Get off easy. Adam?
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Kevin?
Yep, nope. Rochelle didn't leave me anything either.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll move on. The consent agenda. Approval December 12th, 2023, regular city council minute meetings and approval of bills and claims. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Wait a second.
I'll second it.
Then motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Hahn. Approve the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody wants to take off that consent agenda for discussion? Since there is none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Jehan.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business, item 12. Complete disclosure concerning official depositories. You got that paper from Kevin tonight. Most of us have filled it out. Did you want to say anything, Kevin?
Yeah, I thank you, Mayor. I don't have any other comments unless you guys have questions. It's just a standard procedure that we're gonna, well, you'll see every year.
Okay. We'll go to new business action items. Approve application for a new microbrewery license for Bushwick Brewing Company, 595 Main Street, Lander, Wyoming, 82520, Original Township, Lander Block 25, West 30 of Lot 9, and all of Lot C, 10C, General Commercial District. That we had that at the public hearing. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
A motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Jay to approve the microbrewery license to Bushwick. Any questions? Call for a question. Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to item B, approval of renewal of liquor licenses for 24-25. That was a public hearing also, and that's all the liquor licenses that are left that are out there. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Hahn, second by Councilman Larson to approve the renewal of the liquor licenses for 24-25. Call for the question, Councilman Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item E. Approving first reading ordinance of 2024-3, annexation of zoning, a portion of lot at 710 Robbie View. I missed some. Did I miss some, didn't I? Not in my packet. You got a packet there. I have it in this one. That should have changed. Oh, it's right there. Okay, he showed me. A lot of liquor licenses. Item C, we'll back up a minute. Approval of first reading 2024-1, rezoning 2 lots in the 700 block of Garfield Street from R5 to residential to C commercial district.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve, and a second.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman White to approve first reading ordinance of 2024-1, rezoning lots, 2 lots at 700 block of Garfield from R5 to residential to C commercial district. Any questions? Call for the question then. Councilman Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, moving on to item D. Approve first reading of ordinance 2024-2, rezoning 431 Washakie Street from an R5 to residential to C commercial district. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
A motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Hahn. Discussion? Councilman White.
Yeah, Mayor, I just, I've got some real mixed emotions on that whole thing. You know, we've been trying so hard to, get housing for, people to, you know, that's working in town.
Right.
And, boy, this just looks to me like it's an ideal situation for that. And, we're not looking at, a manufacturing type facility there that's gonna be hammering away 24 hours a day, you know, banging on an anvil or anything like that. And I'm also concerned about voting again the planning commission where they went adamantly opposed to it. But I guess right now I'm pretty in favor of it.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
this is an ordinance, so it does require 3 separate votes, 3
Right.
separate readings. So this is just the first. So if you guys approve it tonight, then it moves on to the second. If you don't, then it dies. But there probably will be more discussion with Councilman Cox and Councilman Stubble in the future, or more, maybe more information that comes available. But this is just the first reading.
Anybody else?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I likewise have a lot of mixed feelings about this from a number of different perspectives. One is in terms of the signatures that were presented to us. To me, it's not the best formatted, and, you know, there's a sheet of signatures, and a lot of those folks, as I talk to them, trying to understand what were you concerned about it? I'd like to learn more about your point of view. And like, I don't really know. I was just told this was a bad thing and I should sign. And so to me, that there weren't specific criteria outlined that they knew they were signing about takes away some of the value of what this is. I think there was also some not entirely accurate information. So this is not an example of spot zoning, for instance. That's a totally different thing. There are folks who are also given mixed information about this would decrease their property values, but increase property taxes. And that's not how it works. If your property value goes down, your property taxes go down. I understand Mr. Wiles has background in real estate. I had a brief conversation with an impartial real estate person about to what extent would something being zoned commercial in an otherwise kind of this transition neighborhood. And that response was probably limited to no impact on adjacent property values for it. So all of those are things that make me say, you know, this is all, I'd be more inclined to vote in favor of it. On the other side of it, I do understand some of the concerns from the residents there, and that it's then facing the next into the R2 zone, which is a little different. That may be something we decide to change in our 2024 master plan for that. To me, it seems like the happy medium would be for Mr. Baker to have a conditional use permit so he can build his building and operate, but not have perpetuating concerns into the neighborhood beyond his ownership of it. So, and then lastly, I think there's some concerns when I, you know, again, asked folks in the neighborhood that I had contact info for, you know, things like, well, I don't want a large building obstructing my view. It's like, well, you could also build a 2-story house and that would obstruct your view. And you wouldn't have any feedback on. So some of the things, again, I think are misperceptions about what the rezoning would be. But boy, this is one I've been stewing over ever since I knew it was coming up. It's like I keep flip-flopping, like 51-49, and then I'm 49-51, and it's a head scratcher for sure. Thank you.
Councilman,
Regine. Maybe you can help me. A little clarification. Did I hear it correctly that the planning commission felt a little better with the conditional use in this situation or not?
That is what Zach Malum represented tonight. Personally, during the meeting, I did hear some of the members say just what Missy said, that a conditional use would be an appropriate thing. And so I can't speak for the members themselves, but Zach represented that they thought that was appropriate.
Thank you.
just remember, like Adam said, this is an ordinance. We can move it forward and have more discussion later on, get more information if you need it. So,
And I think you could also table it technically if you really wanted to have more discussion, but you do have 3 readings, so.
yeah, we have 3
Especially,
readings. We'll have 2 more after this one.
well, I think with 2 members of our body
Gives them a
absent as
chance.
well, it'd be nice to be able to give them a chance for it. So again, if I can reiterate, Mayor, I want Mr. Baker to be able to make the ultimate use of this property, and certainly having a business in town can help us in generating sales tax, et cetera. I think that's all important.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
There's other discussion. Let's let that.
Okay, you wanna go ahead, we got a motion to approve it on the first
Mayor,
reading? Yes.
One more comment. You have work sessions between now and then, so if you wanted to talk to your planning commission in more detail, that may be something where we could bring them in for the work session and have some direct discussion on it as well.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to table this item until our next voting meeting.
I'll second that. Got a motion to table it. The second by Josh Hahn to table this till the next meeting. Then call for the question then, Councilman Larson.
No.
Yes.
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 No, motion carries.
Clarification, please.
Yes,
Missy, did you intend that to be on the next work session? Or do you want that to be on the next regular voting session?
Tabled until for the next voting session in terms of actually voting on it.
Okay, so if you have additional information requirements that you need, you'll have to get those to me and the planning commission.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. Moving on, item E. Approval first reading ordinance 2024-3 annexation is zoning of a portion of lot at 710 Robbie View. That was part of our public hearing. Again, we talked about it. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hahn, second by Councilman Jay Hahn. Approval of first reading ordinance 2024-3 annexation on Robbie View. Discussion? None? Call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Some more housekeeping, appointing the 24 official depositories for the city of Lander. You want to read those off? I got you.
Yep, the depositories for 2024, Central Bank and Trust, First Interstate Bank, Wyoming Community Bank, US Bank, and Wells Fargo. I have their letters on file.
Okay. Can I get a motion? To appoint those.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman White. To appoint the 24 official depositories for the city of Lander. Call for the question, Councilman Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. Item G. Appoint the Lander Journal as the city Lander official newspaper.
So moved.
I get a second.
I'll second.
Get a motion and a second. Appoint the Lander Journal as the city's Lander official newspaper. Any questions, concerns? Call for a question. Councilman Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Item H. Appoint the following Board of Appeals. Darren Hubble, Bryce Cook to 1-year terms, David Hess, Bill Jones, and Ryan Morris Brady to a 2-year term. Corey Clauser, Wade Alexander, and Tim Nichols as alternates at large, members at large. So we've had this board before, and with us passing our codes and stuff, we need to bring it back up to date. Hunter, you want to speak a little bit? You had your hand up there, so.
Sure. This is formerly the Board of Examiners that we've had in our municipal code. The more current terminology for it's Board of Appeals. It's within our code books. So it's an avenue for citizens to appeal decisions made by the building department and be heard in front of a board. So like I say, in the past, we've had the Board of Examiners that is in our municipal code. I don't think they have met for 8+ years. And so I wanted to get this group together and give that avenue for citizens. The reason there's this lag between a 1-year term, 2-year terms, and alternates is because there are 2-year terms on this board, so that it's not going to be a cold board as they roll through. So the intention is if somebody's on this board, can't make a meeting, maybe a board member at large can be sent as a proxy too for them, or be part of the process to help go back through the municipal codes and make sure everything's tight with what that looks like for this group too.
Okay.
We received 8 applications for this board. This is all 8 of them, and I think they're all a good batch. I'm really impressed with the It got advertised for over a month with applications for the board, and I was really impressed with the amount of people that wanted to be part of helping the community out with this too.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
And motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Larson. On the call for the question, Councilman Jehan.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, moving on to I authorize the mayor to sign an amendment of lease agreement with Fremont County School District to seasonal permit senior banners to be displayed on Main Street decorative light poles. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Motion in a second. Motion by Councilman Jehan, second by Councilman Dan Hahn. To approve this agreement, school district. Call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. So we'll move on. Item J, approve resolution 1318 adopting limited English proficiency. I can even say it tonight, plan. What is it? Proficiency. Thank you, Adam. Can I get a motion?
Go for it, man.
I can't make them. You guys.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion. Councilman on. Second,
I'll second.
a second by Councilman White. Kevin, is that yours?
It's actually Shari's, but I don't think she's.
She's not on. I didn't see her.
I am. I'm here.
Go ahead,
Can you hear
Shar.
me?
Yes.
This is actually a requirement of the SRF, DWSRF program, the EPA. We have to have a policy in place that says that we will try to accommodate those that English is not their first language. I can tell you we've already do this. My husband speaks Spanish and has come and worked in the court system more than once and been an interpreter. This just reads that this is just on paper saying that we will try to accommodate these folks so that we don't have a language barrier.
Okay,
So moved.
a second. A motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Larson. And call for question, Councilman Hahn.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Approve resolution 1319, allow a temporary water waiver of additional water usage fees to the city of Lander residents during emergency situations at the discretion of the Public Works Director. Take a motion.
So moved.
A second. A motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Dan Hahn to approve resolution 1319. Discussion, anybody? I think we already know what that's all about, so.
Yeah.
All right, call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. You get a motion to adjourn.
Please.
I got a motion by Councilman Larson. Can I get a second?
How do you one up that? Yes.
I got a second by Councilman White. Call for the question, Councilman Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Meeting adjourned. You're getting a horse like that was.
Yeah.
Wife asked it. I ate a hot dog before I came. Just grabbed a hot dog before I came.
That's a good idea.
Just to carry it over.